Well, guys, we have got some confirmation on some of the stuff that we heard about yesterday regarding FC26. And some of that stuff is once again from FUT Economist regarding the content. So that's, nice to see at least. We'll talk about it. We've got a new game mode that has been like teased by EA as well coming up in next year's game that we'll discuss. There's not much information about it, just we know the name of it and kind of a couple of like the general details about what it's going to entail. But other than that, there's really not much. So we got that plus a couple of more SBCs as well in the next like couple days here. If you guys would like to buy coins, you can go to MMOXP.com. There will be a link in the description down below. They are the cheapest and the safest option. You can use my code JFC at checkout for an 8% discount. But we got a lot to discuss. 96 Evos coming out as well. The first one came out today. We have more of them coming out, apparently leaked by FUT Police Leaks. And I can just tell you now, the leaks about them is that we're just supposed to get like a lot of general 96 Evos, and there's not like much requirements about them, I believe. So probably along the same lines as the like max 10 playstyles, max 4 playstyle pluses, right? Not really a whole lot of strictness on those Evos, which is nice, but that's kind of what we can expect for the next like week or two here. I will also have a 94 plus icon player pick to open as well at the end of this video. So, okay, first of all, content, there's not much to say other than just like the XP, obviously very, very stingy right now. And I actually just uploaded a comments video on my second channel kind of talking about this slightly, but I think what EA wants to do here with XP is kind of get us used to next year when there probably won't be as much, because what we learned yesterday, they want to kind of slow down everything. So if I had to guess, that's kind of what they're doing here. We had rumors of double XP during some time in this season, and the XP has been very, very few and far between. Excuse me, you'd think you'd see it more often. We just haven't. So if I had to guess, this is probably getting us more used to what we're going to see next year. And we had some more clarifications about some of this stuff from FUT Economist that we'll get into in 1 second here. But okay, let's just get on to the news here. So we have our first FUT Economist tweets here since he went on FUT Accountant's stream, right? So we had a little thread about what we can expect for next year's game in terms of some of the things we maybe took too literally, or things we didn't take seriously enough, or some things we just misunderstood, right? So the first tweet from FUT Economist here is something I wanted to clarify. When I mentioned slowing the power curve, the goal was to help items stay relevant longer. For example, golds lasting longer, new releases not outdating your current squad as quickly, etc. But that does not mean less promos, says FUT Economist. Now, I kind of thought this would be the case. I know it's kind of a cop-out. I literally titled yesterday's video as less promos in next year's game, but the leakers were saying that. I kind of thought in my head that like that doesn't really make much sense. I think we'll see the same amount of promos, but just we'll have less of kind of big stat boosts involved, more of kind of cards along the same lines you'd expect to see in the power curve at that time, if that makes sense. So he continues to explain down here. We have got our current plan is to continue to have weekly squad releases. Okay, aka weekly promos. We've seen that players get bored if we don't do that. The key change is that this year the average stat boost size of those items relative to existing items will be smaller. So promos just won't have the same size stat boosts as we saw in last year's game, basically. And he does reiterate down here that it's mainly just last year's game that they're going to try and like not do again. But third tweet here, in general, promo squads will focus more on meta depth and accessibility, less on direct power iteration. We'll still have big boost heavy promos. They're fun, but when every promo is special, none of them are. That's been clear from your feedback this year. And as you guys know, we've talked about that plenty on the channel over the last, year or so, right? That if every promo is huge and the best ever, then no promo means literally anything at all. The fourth tweet here, if it helps frame things, we're calibrating the pace to be closer to FIFA 23 or FC 24 and meaningfully slower than FC 25, but not dialed all the way back to something like the FIFA 15 days. So not like gold cards used till June, but meaningfully, I guess, slower than last year's game, which really was the fastest we'd probably ever seen in an FC cycle, right? Or FIFA cycle, I should say. And last tweet here, it is worth noting this is a super nuanced topic, one that cannot be properly explained in a Twitter thread, but I can promise that we'll keep listening and working to tune better based on your feedback throughout the year. So okay, sure. I mean, all we can do, I guess, is just take your word for it. You've never listened to us in this same depth for years. We've had good ideas. I feel like we've ended up at this exact point. I feel like because you haven't listened to us for a majority of the last 3, 4, 5 years, but I'm happy to see the power curve slightly slowing down and also just not less promos. I figured what we'd probably see is the same amount of promos, exact same amount of paid evos, if I had to guess. Like those won't change either. We'll just see less stat boosts on said evolutions, said store packs, and said promos, right? Because at this point, they can't go back on like every week promos. Like they can't have it so that's like, oh yeah, 2 promos a month, guys, or something like that. They have to try and find that balance of not having as many new promos and also having less promos than we had last year and less of a power curve strain that we had last year as well. So Fun Economist tried to, you know, explain that in detail here. I understand what he's trying to say. I do think it is better for the game if it is not as fast. I think we can probably all agree on that. Now, of course, the way they go about this, you know, that's the whole discussion here, right? Because as we know, over the last 4 or 5 years, it seems like the content team has been trying to fuck you over continuously. Like that's been their goal, is to fuck over the hardcore or free-to-play player more and more. Maybe I shouldn't say that. In some ways, it has been kind of easier. Like, for example, a free-to-play team actually is debatably better than what you saw in FIFA 19 or FIFA 20, but there are some ways where it's harder to get those top tier cards than it was back then. So, you know, it's a give and take, and we just gotta see what this ends up looking like. What do you guys think it will end up looking like? Is it going to be great for us, terrible for us, somewhere in the middle? You know, I don't know. But the main piece of news here, if you take nothing else from this, is that we will not see less promos. We will just see less stat boosts on cards next year. I'm assuming that goes with play styles as well, as my guess. And Fun Economist is not done yet, so more clarification on some stuff next year. One thing I want to clear up, since there's been some confusion, the icons included in the Ultimate Edition will be lower rated than their base versions, which I think we've probably had like leaked or teased on this channel. Like, for example, 1 of 15 icon picks are not going to be their literal base icons. They'll be slightly lower than their base icons, and they can also be upgraded, so that also is kind of a benefit to that. I think Fun Economist says down here as well that regarding the 6k FC points, yes, it's more than 4.6k from last year, and hopefully folks are excited to have more to spend on things like the premium pass. So he's saying, like, hopefully, you know, you can afford quite a few season passes from those 6k FC points if you pre-order the game. And EA's justification for not dropping all the FC points at once like most years is this. So basically, instead of dropping all of them at once, players will receive 2,000 at launch, with the rest coming later in the year, when the economy is better positioned to absorb the influxes of points, I think is what he meant to say here. And that does make sense as well, right? So listen, all these things that they've been saying for the last 2 days, they make a lot of sense. There's good changes. They seem to be good, just well thought out ideas. None of this means anything until we get our hands on the game itself. And I know I'm sounding like a complete fucking just pessimist, complete like hater, whatever you want to say. But the most important thing is this is such a U-turn on what we've been seeing that we need to see them come through with this. And these explanations that have been really nice to see from Fun Economist, want to give them credit for that we're getting like content talks, almost like discussions about content from somebody who's literally making the content, right? Like Fun Economist is a piece of making what we see every day. It's important to have an open dialogue or discussion with someone that's as important as that. So that's nice to see, but like I said, it doesn't really matter if nothing changes actually when the game drops in the end of September. And okay, so next up is this new mode that we're getting more details about as time goes on here. This is separate from the tournament mode, so we're getting tournaments as is already, but apparently this is something that is also just like a separate game mode as is. It's called Gauntlet. It's up to 5 matches. You apparently have a new squad every match that you play, and more wins equals better reward. So I'm guessing it's like a draft kind of thing, but every game you play you have a different squad, and it's up to 5 matches instead of 4, so I guess that's different as well. But the biggest thing for me is that we have 2 different game modes coming into the game next year. We have tournaments and we also have a Gauntlet, and we have no real word on like how casual it's going to be. Is it going to be super competitive, or is it going to be something that's like tournaments where it's not supposed to be as competitive? We have no idea, but we just know that Fun Economist has talked about Gauntlet, and also the leakers have said like this is a new game mode coming in next year. So honestly, once again, I'm just happy to see that we have not only 1 new game mode but but 2 new game modes coming in the game next year, because EA have for some reason thought it was a good idea to keep the same fucking shit trio of game modes for the last 5 years now, and it's beyond perplexing, but that's beside the point. We're moving on now. You know, we're on to next year's game, and we have 2 new game modes, which of course hopefully they don't suck, but at least we have more news about like another new game mode here. And also we have more news that right here, FUT latest says tournaments plus gauntlet mode should be inside live events, so it should be a separate tab for live events, and both of those should be inside of that. So my guess is that some tournaments will be gauntlets and some tournaments will be tournaments, if that makes sense, where you can use your own team the whole time, and then gauntlet is like you use a separate team, a different team every single time. So that seems to be the case there, and I'm happy to see any changes, right? I've said it enough already. Like, just anything different is cool to me. Of course, it depends on the implementation, right, and how good it actually is, but it sounds decent. Now, next up here is the next deep dive we're about to see. So apparently it's archetypes. Now, I guess archetypes is apparently supposed to be just clubs. Now, I did see a couple different things about what archetypes actually could be. This could actually be in not only clubs, but in Ultimate Team 2. And apparently we've just gone back to 3 different archetypes or accelerate styles. So next year we're going back to only 3 different ones: only lengthy, only controlled, and only explosive. No more mostly explosive or controlled explosive, controlled lengthy. That's all gone. It's just one of these 3 now. And it's also going to depend on women's or men's cards. So women's cards, if they're like 5'9", 5'10", are more likely to be lengthy because they're equivalent to a man's like 6'4", right? So apparently they're adding in like a different height requirement depending on the gender as well here. So I believe that's what the archetypes, like a big change is there, but would that be enough to make their own separate pitch notes? My guess is no. So I think there will be some things that we either don't know or just aren't even guessing are going to be a thing in this pitch notes coming up here in the next couple days. So we'll keep an eye out for that. But I think when EA mentioned archetypes, it was this. So you'd think that they wouldn't really need to make a whole separate pitch notes on this, but I'm guessing it's not going to be just this. It'll be a couple of different things regarding the old accelerate, which was always kind of a weird, I mean, I guess it kind of wasn't the worst idea ever, but it always was kind of implemented in a strange way, and they didn't really do much with it post it being a thing. So we're back to 3 now, and we'll see what that looks like in next year's game. And the last bit of FC26 news is that Ones to Watch will not be a promo again next year. Now, I actually like this top reply from this Daniel guy. They claim they want to introduce promos with less stat increases, yet they've been the perfect promo for it. This actually kind of would have been like the perfect promo to start the year with literally 0 stat increases, right? None. Like the Ones to Watch cards have the same exact stats as the gold cards, and they have to wait till they get an inform. So I feel like it's like a perfect way to basically waste a week or 2 on no stat increases at all. But I guess they're not back next year, and it wasn't the most loved promo while it was in the game, so this might be just pure revisionist history. But I do think I kind of miss it, honestly. Let me know what you think about it, if that's a faded take or you also miss it as well. But we have some SBCs regarding FC25 now to go and take a look at. And the first one's right here. We got Karim Benzema. So Benzema official stats as well. He's got finesse, quick step, incisive, and low driven with some fantastic stats all around. I don't know if there's a 5th playstyle plus that you could add to this card. Was it low driven? It's like the 1 playstyle plus you could add that was a 5th in this premium season pass. I forgot which one it is. But what do you think about this card? It's a cool card. Benzema in FIFA is always elite, so he's gonna be very, very good. And yeah, he does say it's SBC, so no objective. It's gonna be an SBC, which I'm sure we will all be attempting to see if we can craft. And then the next SBC we've got here is one that I'm sure now Barca fans will be crafting, because Real Madrid fans, I'm sure, will be trying to craft Benzema, and Barcelona fans will be trying to craft Pedri here. And Pedri is going to be an SBC. Official stats as well: anticipate, intercept, incisive, and tiki-taka, all above 90s there. And one interesting thing to talk about with this Pedri card, and let me know what you guys think about this. So his FUTTIES card, playstyle plus wise, is literally the exact same, right, as his team of the season card. So his team of the season is literally the exact same card, just minus like 2 in stats, you would say, but the exact same number of playstyle pluses. And this card was released 2 months ago. So what do you make of that, right? Is that kind of like a misjudgment in the power curve? And the thing think we've already known by now that EA have misjudged a lot of the power curve this year. It's crazy when you put it this way that the stats themselves are going to be just like +2s, and the playstyle pluses and playstyles, I'm assuming, are going to be the exact same as a 2-month-old card. And this card in the market right now is 16k. And actually, it's only +1 passing and dribbling, right? Yeah, it's +1 passing and dribbling. Like, this just kind of shows you that I think I don't know whose fault it was, but the power curve idea for this year to me just was not correct. And I think this plays a big part in this. And I was seeing some comments yesterday about people saying like, yeah, the power curve isn't going to change much. Like, it was actually pretty fine this year. And I want to agree with you, but at the same time, I'm also like, I think if it was better, there'd be things that you wouldn't even really realize would help a lot. That would just help with the general interest around this game when things changed a little bit less often. And you might be saying, why am I saying less often when the team of the season card and this FUTTIES card are 2 months apart and they're the exact same? The only reason they're the exact same is because we went the first 4 months of this game with a crazy fast power curve, right? That's why they're the same. So if we space things out better, this won't be a problem. So anyway, that's kind of the point I wanted to make there. And I did actually forget this piece of news about FC26. So let's discuss this real quick here. And that's automatic offside traps have been removed apparently in FC26. You have to manually trigger it or the defensive line will just cover the attacker. And holy shit, some of you out there are in big trouble. Some of you out there don't know what it's like to play with a high line and like know the risk and reward from that. Some of you are in big trouble. A lot of you elite players out there are going to be just fine. And hey, if you want to learn next year how to keep a high line, you can like subscribe to the channel. I'm sure I'll give you a tutorial on that. But no automatic offside traps. Everybody just please, if this is actually a thing, because that we need to see it first. We need to see it, but please, God, please. And we do have a couple FUTTIES cards that are just in this next week's team that we'll discuss here. So really just 2 of them. One of them being Rafinha, official stats and playstyle pluses. Travella, finesse, quick step, incisive, first touch, 99s like almost everywhere. Sure, I mean, he's gonna be a great card, I'm sure. That's the first card just in the promo team itself. And our second card here is one that I'm sure most of you are going to be happy to see. And that is Cristiano Ronaldo. He's got chip shot, finesse shot, rapid, aerial, and load driven at 95 pace, 99 shot, 98 dribbling on a Ronaldo card, who I'm sure is going to be pretty damn good. And wait, Madrid Central says he should have 99 pace. The glaze is off the charts. Okay, the glaze is unreal. You know, fuck it. Give him 99 pace. I don't even care. His base card next year. What do you guys think Ronaldo's base card is going to be in next year's game? I'm curious to know what you guys think about that. It's gonna be like 85, or you know, what's it gonna be around next year? Because man, we're at the end of an era for sure. And okay, let's read some of your comments now. And I think it was about, I don't know, maybe 60-40 yesterday, talking about like the changes look good, I'm excited, versus like they're gonna fool you, you fucking morons. And this is kind of the thing, is like if their marketing strategy is literally this, they almost like they have to deliver to a certain extent, otherwise they're literally screwed. Like they're not gonna make any money this year if they don't deliver to a certain degree on these changes. So there's a non-zero chance that happens. Like there's a non-zero chance the gameplay is just as bad as it was this year. I just think that that's probably not going to be the case. Is it going to be the best FIFA ever? Hell no. All right, fuck no. Not even remotely close, I'm sure. EA just woke up and said like, oh my god, wait, we maybe should listen to them. Like our hardcore fans who play the game on a borderline day-to-day basis, like maybe we should listen to those guys. But anyway, moving on to Kevin's comment here. I saw this a couple times. Like, I want them to send you to Vancouver, bro. They are not going to invite me. I have said some heinous shit in the past. There is no way they'd invite my ass in. I'll tell you that much. But we got Schmungus1. I think the fatigue changes could be good for people who let their AI center backs do the majority of the work. And that's where I felt like maybe they're trying to attack this with. I feel like if they did like hardcore legit play testing and they notice like, hey, the AI center backs, what we actually can do is if we make them lose stamina pretty quickly and you don't control them, they're going to be like total shit in defense. And actually the AI defending that way gets nerfed a lot. That's like my only thought as to what their goal behind nerfing stamina was. But well, technically they buffed stamina, but they kept it the same on CPU players. So I was trying to think of like the best way that would be beneficial for us. And I think that's the best way. And my guess would be that was their goal behind it. But yeah, I mean, we'll just have to wait and see, I suppose. What do you guys think that was? Next up, we got Wellieg. I'm so sorry. Slow down power curve proceeds to give all pre-order players R9 on day one. And now we know that the icons we're going to get are downgraded. So they're not even the base icons. They're going to be downgraded. You guys hear that thunder? They're like downgraded to the point where they're going to probably get upgraded in November to like what their base icons actually are. So it's not like they're going to be too crazy. And also, you're not getting R9. One of you out there watching this video, I'm sure will get R9, but you right there, yeah, I'm talking to you. You're not getting R9, okay? It's just not going to happen. So yeah, of course, they're trying to balance like the give good rewards while also slowing the power curve down. Last year, the pre-orders were way down. We got to give better rewards while also we still want to slow the power curve down. It's a lot to think about in EA shoes when you got money on your mind. And Martz here makes an interesting point. Like, for example, if the first quarter numbers aren't very good, they can quickly jump into, say, Team of the Year time, where they can make like a really big power curve change to boost like, or try and boost the FC point sales. I do wonder if they think about that on their back end. Like, hey, worst case scenario, if it's not going well, we can make Team of the Year like a crazy ass jump in the power curve and make it like the most insane promo we've ever done before. Make a menu grind in there. Make the Team of the Year players even possibly slightly more packed than previous years. Not crazy amount more, but just slightly more to kind of entice that more and more. You know, I do wonder what their backup plan is here if, say, first quarter sales or first quarter like revenue goals aren't hit, right? I do wonder about that. I don't even know what's first quarter. It might be like third quarter. I forgot what quarter it is for EA, like, you know, their way their fiscal schedule works. But either way, whatever it is, I do wonder what their like backup plan is here, because you know they're gonna have one. You know they got a backup plan somewhere up their sleeve. But okay, we got the icon pick. I just want to pair my R9 with a Ronaldinho, a little Brazilian teammate action. Of course, FUTTIES Pele would be cool too. We're going for the full Brazilian team here. Well, actually, you can get the Shapeshifters Dino in this pick, so I guess that would work too. 96 Figo as our first pick. Second one is going to be okay, 95 Wanderer. Third one's going to be absolute horseshit, and fourth one is going to be okay. Well, just don't save your fodder. I mean, what are you saving your fodder for at this point? I don't know. Just don't. This pick sucks dick. Thank you guys for watching so much, and I love y'all. Peace.